Hello and what's up guys, this is Z-Maniac Gamers. I'm doing a full review of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I have about 7 hours in game right now, so I have a pretty good feel of how it's going to progress and everything else. With that said, I'm not getting sponsored or paid by this. This is just for you guys. I'm not paid by EA. I'm doing an honest review of how I feel about the game, what I think of it, and if I recommend it or not. Now, as some of you may know, I am a huge Star Wars fan. That's what I'm mainly playing on my channel, are Star Wars games. I love Star Wars. I think the story in this game, at least so far, is phenomenal. I will not have any spoilers in this video anyway. It's very good, feels very authentic, very Star Wars. I really love it. It does tie in with the movies, with the series, Clone Wars. So with that, I'd give it a 10 out of 10 for story-wise. I think the story is phenomenal. It is on par, it's everything that you want. Now, gameplay. Gameplay is interesting because they really advertise it, at least the way I saw the commercials, is there's a lot of fighting, a lot of battles. It's basically like Battlefront, except you're only playing as a Jedi running around killing stormtroopers, fighting purge troopers, the Inquisitors, stuff like that. That's how it looks from the trailers. Like, it really looks like it's just an action adventure game. And while that's true to an extent, it's also really a puzzle game. Like, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of missions where you're walking around trying to find stuff, not many enemies. You're just really trying to figure out like where to go in the next map. So I feel like there's a lot of Tomb Raider in it from that standpoint, and you can see there's actually a mission where you spend about an hour like going through a tomb, like and with rocks and everything, and boulders and stones, and I feel like that's very Tomb Raider. So if you like that playing style, I think you'd really enjoy it. If you like that sort of game, it's more like role playing, which is fun, but personally I don't like that as much, trying to figure out where to go. I like to know where to go, there being only one or two paths really, and not a lot of exploration. That's just me. Like, I like to be more actioning, so I kind of like shooters or racing from that standpoint a little bit better. With that said, it's still a good game. I'm still gonna play it, but you just have to know what to expect. So there's a lot of missions and little secret collectibles and replayability and going through the map. So although a lot of people have beaten it in like 20 hours, it's probably gonna take me like 25 or 30. There's an extra probably 10 hours worth of collectibles and replaying each mission and going back and finding stuff that you didn't have access to because you haven't unlocked the power or something like that, which I'll get to next actually. So you have to unlock abilities, a lot of abilities. There's a progression system. I'd say it's very similar to one of the Spider-Man games actually. I think the new one, where you can unlock new combos and new moves and like link them up and use skill points based on gameplay to unlock maybe a saber throw, etc. So there's a lot you can't do at the start, and that kind of requires you to go back and replay the missions when you have those abilities unlocked. Maybe a force push, force pull, because you can't access certain areas. For me, that's a little bit annoying, but that also adds replay value, so there's that. By the way, for those of you who are following along with my live commentary, my live gameplay, no commentary, I just want to let people know that although I am doing a no commentary playthrough, I will be doing streams or video series where I talk through the whole thing. I just wanted to kind of serve both audiences and kind of just provide a walkthrough that's just straight a walkthrough going through the missions and without any talking, so you can just fully experience the game like you're playing it yourself. So that's why there's no talking in those. Speaking of walkthroughs, I highly recommend walkthroughs for this game, especially for the tomb mission and some of the harder ones that are more puzzle oriented. You can spend a lot of time walking around aimlessly and trying to figure out what to do next if you don't know where to go. And I did that in the video actually, one of the videos, and I just edited it kind of all out and cut together a lot because I spent like an hour and a half walking around when it was a 30-minute mission or so, just because I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, so there's that. Combat. Combat feels amazing. It is a little bit hard to get the hang of at first, so there is that, but once you master it, you can really pull off some awesome cinematics and stunts and battles. It's really well done. Like, I love it. I think that's the most fun part of the game. For me, I love the combat system, how you can freeze people, throw people, you know, hit them with their own bolt. I haven't unlocked that, by the way, yet. But also like throw the lightsaber, the blocking, the push. It's just all the mechanics are great. Now there's something else I want to tell you. This game is a little bit scary, at least for me. And maybe I'm a wimp, but there are a ton of jump scares where these guys just jump out at you from the ground, like some animals and stuff like that. The animals are the worst to fight. Like the stormtroopers, they're not that bad, but then like everybody agrees, like that Ooga Booga, my god, whatever that guy is called, Oingo Boingo, or whatever, that big fat reptile lizard frog. That thing is nasty, and there's a lot of enemies like that. With that said, let's talk about a little bit past gameplay. Let's look at performance. So, not to flex, but I'm running on a 2080 Super and i7 9700K. So those are two of the top of the line hardware. I just recently upgraded. I'll make a video on that. But anyway, you would think that I'd be getting an insanely high frame rate. I'd be able to play at 4K and everything, and I'm supposed to be. However, this game right now is, at least at launch, is having a lot of issues. People with 2080 Ti's, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's the top of the line video card. Mine is the one right under it. People with these video cards cannot get sustainable frame rates. I cannot get over 60 frames at 1080p consistently. It will drop below the thresholds. 4K, I'm supposed to, for a game like this, it's supposed to get from 60 to 80 frames, and this game gets about 40. So there's a lot of issues with that. There's also a ton of screen tearing they need to fix. So if you're considering waiting and you haven't already ordered it, I would wait until maybe Black Friday and save $20 off of it or so. And then maybe they'll have the bugs fixed by then. But right now, for NVIDIA-based GPUs, I'm not sure about AMD, there are numerous issues. There's blurring with lightsaber combat, like screen tear. That's when it disconnects and you see parts of the character or lightsaber kind of choppy or weird. So there's a huge performance issue with that. Assuming they'll fix it, that's not an issue, but as of right now, the day after launch, Saturday, it's still doing it. So they haven't exactly fixed that with a driver update or a software update, whatever that is. Now, one more thing I want to cover in this is whether you should buy the Deluxe Edition or the Standard Edition. So I bought the Deluxe Edition for clout. No, I just kind of wanted it to have it. It's for YouTube, whatever. But there's really no benefit to having it unless you really, for $10 more, want two skins, a red skin for the droid Crimson BD1 skin, and the same red Crimson skin for the ship that you guys travel in. One cool thing I will admit though is that when you're walking around outside the ship, or even in cutscenes, I think, it shows up as whatever color you set it to. So that's pretty cool. Like, the colors stay. It's not like they change, which is kind of crazy. But they do stay to whatever you set the skins to for your character or for the droid, like I said. The other thing that comes with it is a digital art book. So if that adds value, if you really want that, I probably don't care for that much. And the director's cut behind the scenes, they show how they made the game, which is cool to see. Once again, you have to really gauge whether that's worth that $10 for you or not. I don't think the Deluxe is that cool besides the exclusive skins. I think the pre-order bonuses were actually a little bit better with the orange lightsaber and stuff like that. Those stuff are pretty awesome, and I would have recommended getting it for that. With that said, the next thing I want to talk about real quick, and if you don't care, that's fine, but on what platform you should get it. So, there's almost no benefit to getting on Steam. They don't have Steam achievements since it's an EA game, and you have to link it with your Origin and download Origin anyway. So unless you play on Steam and prefer Steam and don't care that you have to get Origin anyway, then there's no real reason to get it on Steam besides wanting the performance drain of running Steam and Origin at the same time. Now, Origin is what I would get it on because it's an EA game and that's what I have all of my Star Wars games on. But that's up to you guys. Wherever you can get the best price might also be something. Steam has pretty good sales, so does Origin. Now, it's also on Epic Games, which I'm surprised. The only reason I'm even talking about it, I wouldn't get it on Epic Games. But if you play Fortnite, you actually get a free Stormtrooper skin that's worth $15 with your purchase on Epic Games. So that's at least kind of cool and gives an incentive to buy it through them, is that they'll bundle it with that skin if you play Fortnite. So I still wouldn't buy it on Epic Games, but that's just me personally, because then I believe you have to have them both running at the same time. And anytime you have two launchers running at the same time, you're gonna have some sort of performance drain. With that said, what I will say is the game is fun. My closing thoughts: it's very time consuming and takes a lot of missions, which I don't like as much, that there's not as much action and it's more of like a Tomb Raider ripoff, but it's not in a bad way. They did it well. I'm just saying that's how it feels to me. And I'm sure a lot of people noticed that, the similarities. I do think the combat is fun and I love the story. So if you like that style of gameplay where you can spend hours and hours just playing it, and you know, going after missions, finding collectibles, stuff like that, and battling on top of that, really tailoring to a wider audience, then you'll enjoy it. If you're looking for something more fast-paced, more shootery, like Star Wars Battlefront, that's the game I would recommend, is Star Wars Battlefront, if you want something with more action. Because this, if you want something with a good story, definitely go with this. You know, you can always get both, it's just what style of game you would prefer. Thank you guys so much for watching, and feel free to check out my playthroughs and walkthroughs if you need any help with anything. And let me know how you guys liked it, and if you're gonna buy the game, and if my video helped you guys decide.